Hi there, and welcome to our next edition in our Plotly Studio Data Sources video series. Today we're going to be connecting to Google Cloud's BigQuery. BigQuery is Google's cloud-based data warehouse built to analyze massive data sets fast. Billions of rows in seconds, no infrastructure required. Just load your data and start asking questions. It's pretty popular with data engineers and analysts at mid to large companies who are already inside the Google Cloud ecosystem, as well as data science teams who need a direct line to Google's AI and machine learning tools. Enterprises love it for its reliability. Startups love it because it's pay for only what you use. And we're seeing more and more people connecting BigQuery to Plotly Studio, so we wanted to show you what the fastest and easiest way to connect to BigQuery is with Plotly Studio. So let's jump in. So I want to create a new project, and while that's loading up, I want to pull open BigQuery to show you where I'm going to find the credential information. So I'm new to BigQuery, and it, quite frankly, is a bit overwhelming as a product when you're navigating through the menu. Thankfully, they have a pretty good global search here at the top. And so in order to set up an account to connect to BigQuery, if you don't already have one, you'll need to set up a service account. And so you can create a new one, you give it some sort of display name. I've already created one. This is going to be an email that's specifically just for logging in to the BigQuery instance, rather project that I've created up here, Plotly Studio Data Sources. For this service account, I'll need to generate a key. I've already done that below, but you can always create a new key. I recommend you use the JSON format. What it'll do is it'll spit out a file that you can download to your computer, open up in your editor of choice, and just have all the arguments you need to connect in one copy and paste, and no need to think too hard about the form. Let's go ahead and use this in Plotly Studio. And so I'm going to bring that back to the main screen here. And so connect to BigQuery using a service account JSON key. Great, it's configured my connection, and it knows that this JSON key is going to include a whole bunch of different arguments that are needed to connect. So I'll go ahead and paste that here, and it should show me a listing of data sets and or tables that are in my BigQuery project. And there we go. You can see all of the tables listed in my BigQuery project. I don't have a ton. I'm not a big BigQuery user, but I do have this smartphone table that I just uploaded a couple minutes ago, and connect to smartphone table. So let's tell it to connect to this table. Of course, I could have also asked it to join across many tables. I could have enriched the data that I'm retrieving here. Today, we're doing a pretty simple example. I'm just going to do the equivalent of a select star query from this table. And Plotly Studio is fetching the data. It's rendering a preview. Give it a second. So in this case, it needed to retrieve the schema of the table first to structure the query. I don't know BigQuery's syntax language, but thankfully the LLM data source connection does. And so you can see in here in my spec file a summary of all of the data processing that we've done, how we fetch data from the data source using the service credentials, how we've loaded it, how we've ultimately processed it, which columns we've pulled. And you can also see the Python code that was used to actually retrieve this data frame that you see here in the preview. And I've successfully loaded data from BigQuery into Plotly Studio. And so I'm going to hit continue and start building a Plotly Studio app. This will take just a minute. And as always, once you've connected to a data source, you're going to have the option to either generate charts one at a time using Plotly Studio's component spec builder, or you'll be able to use our app prototyping feature to generate 6 charts automatically, or you can hop over to our explore mode to ultimately see different suggestions of charts that could be helpful to build, such as here in my smartphone context, stress level versus sleep hours, productivity versus device type, sleep hours of occupations, daily phone use of different genders, all sorts of interesting trends I can start make sense of now that I've successfully connected to query. One final caveat, there are other authentication protocols that are supported by BigQuery. Not every account is going to support this flow of using a JSON service account token. And so just be aware and work with your organization administrator to understand how you can connect to Plotly Studio in the most secure way possible. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day, and we can't wait to see what you build in Plotly Studio. Take care.